Full disclosure was born on cable public access over 16 years ago. As the news behind the news, it was the medium where we could expose the issues that mainstream media either wouldn't or couldn't explore. And now, starting in January of 2009, public access is finished.
Council members, in 2006, the California State Legislature passed a new state law that took effect in 2007.
That state law was AB 2987, or DIVCA, the Digital Infrastructure and Video Competition Act of 2006, and went into effect a year ago. A year ago! Full disclosure just discovered this insidious act about 4 months ago and has been clamoring about it ever since. But the city officials have been sitting on their hands, ignoring it, as if they didn't mind shutting down a particularly effective voice of the public, which often tends to be critical of their follies. Now in November, as the door is swinging shut, our city officials have been surprised by the implementation of this legislation. Oh my! Have they suddenly awakened? The Los Angeles City Council Committee on Information Technology Agency hosted a meeting at the last minute, just before the holidays, when nobody was looking, to kill off public access cable channels.
And that took away the city's franchising rights. What the state law also did was cause the city to lose the right to negotiate and enforce new franchise agreements that would have permitted the city to grow and enhance its current public education and government access system.
Public Education and Government Access Systems is known as PEG, or PEG. We all know the value of educational TV and government TV, but what is the value of public access? Morris Griffin, a community activist known as Big Money Griff, said it best.
Our voice, our position, our previous subjects such as religion, Proposition 8, Proposition 9, Proposition 11, rent control. If our voice is taken away, our lives will be affected forever come December 31st.
Full disclosure has been seen and heard on over 40 cable public access stations throughout California. Our crusade to bring public attention to critical issues has been very successful due to our ability to speak directly to the people through public access. As of the end of this year, that channel of communication will be closed. Watch Council Committee Chairman Cardenas react with surprise and affront.
The city's incumbent cable operators, Time Warner and Cox, they switched over to the new state franchise as of January 2008. And now the final transition will take place on January 1st of 2009, where the incumbent providers will no longer be obligated to provide the 14 public access studios throughout the city. Time Warner has stated that it will shut down operations of its 14 public and education access studios, resulting in a loss of studios and channel signals to the city as of January 1st,
Wait a minute.
2009.
Wait. Slow down, time out. You're talking about one company closing down 14 facilities?
That is correct.
Now, hold on a second. They're closing down 14 facilities. They've had these facilities open for years?
That is correct, Councilman. As part of the previous city franchise, when the city was responsible for cable franchising, as part of the negotiations of that franchise agreement, they negotiated that the incumbent provided at no expense to the city as an in-kind service public access facilities throughout the city with a total of 14.
David Hernandez, a civic activist, is also a public access producer. He was perplexed about the ignorance of the people in charge.
That how can you have individuals in charge with that much responsibility that do not understand or comprehend how the system works?
And so 14 studios and the accompanying channels where publicly produced programs could be aired will be closed to the public. Council Committee Chairman Cardenas worked hard to point out how helpless the city was in protecting the public access.
Okay, so nowhere in the DIVCA language would we find a requirement to carry PEG access.
Correct. What you will find is that to the extent that there is capacity for PEG channels, the new entrants have to provide similar capacity.
Capacity, but not
Correct.
content.
Correct.
Not facilities in order to create the content, et cetera, like the old days. like the facilities we have today.
And Councilman, if I could elaborate on the city attorney's comments. Therefore, it's really the city's prerogative to determine what level of PEG access it would provide. And again, when we talk about PEG access, we're talking about three elements: public access, educational access content, and government access content.
Aha, did you hear that? It's really the city's prerogative to determine what level of PEG access it would provide. So the city does have some say in providing the public a platform to air its grievances. But do they want to provide that platform?
The cancellation of PEG will stop the galvanizing and mobilizing of the people around various issues.
And that may be the unspoken but intended consequence. So what did they do for us? They selected option number 1.
Option number 1 includes preserving 4 citywide channels as follows for the City of Los Angeles. One channel that would be for continuation of the government access channel, Channel 35. A second channel that would be a government access channel that would be utilized initially as an electronic bulletin board and would include additional government access programming over time. This channel would really be a placeholder that would allow the city to preserve a second channel at no cost and could be later expanded or reshaped as the city's budget improves in the future. A third channel would be used for continuation of the city's current educational access channel, Channel 36, under its existing board LACTAC. It would be designated a community and educational channel. It would also carry some public access content on the channel, as well as deliver all the content on the internet.
Channel 36? Channel 36 is already loaded with programming, including the World Affairs Council, high school football games, commercial cooking shows, the Arts Channel. Even Full Disclosure has been featured on Channel 36 for years. How are they going to find space for the thousands of public access producers in the nation's second largest city? You should know that the city funds their government channel, 35, to the tune of $6 million a year. This is where the mayor and the city council air their well-funded productions, council meetings, and individually showcase interviews with the council members. They will spend whatever they want to make themselves look good. And now they're going to dump all of the production and currently airing on 14 other channels onto the poor stepchild Channel 36, which has an annual budget of less than $600,000. And all of the productions, including self-funded Full Disclosure, will have to compete for airtime on this one channel. Which government agency will decide which public voice gets heard? Will it be the City Council Budget Committee, who appropriates the channel's budget? Will it be the Council ITA Committee? Or will the mayor's office have a say?
So who is going to be making the decision as to what we air or what we don't air? Are we going to play reruns of the World Affairs Council, or are we going to play one of the many religious broadcasts that are currently airing on public access?
Do you see a potential for government control and censorship here, or is it just me?
A fourth and final channel would be implemented for higher educational content to be operated and managed at no cost to the city, with participation from the city's higher educational institutions throughout the Southland. That channel.
Our rights and liberties are in the process of being taken away from the people because of large companies like Time Warner, AT&T, because they have lobbied, and because of the budget.
We are losing 14 channels, not just 14 stations, but we're losing 14 channels and the time frame with which those programs would be broadcast. And we're being relegated to 4, let's face it, 4 government-controlled channels.
Full Disclosure has been out in front of this problem. Due to the public support we've received over the past 15 years, we now video stream our programs on the internet. We regret that the door of public access opportunity is now closing for future producers, because new producers with limited resources will be prevented from having the readily available television facilities and training to air their points of view that may strike a chord in the mind of the public. As of January 1st, that access will be gone.
This is an alternative form of journalism in which the saturated, censored mass media does not offer an alternative to their point of view. This is an alternative point of view which is offered, which would not ever be seen through the mass media.
I think it is quite clear that we need to move forward with litigation to challenge the legislation that has come down from Sacramento. We need to move forward quickly. We know that it's going to be a very difficult, could be costly, but since when hasn't defending the First Amendment, the civil rights, the ability to have free expression and freedom of the press, it may be costly and lengthy, but it's going to be worth it. And so what we plan on doing and moving forward with litigation, challenging that, it's not just for us, the current public access producers, but for the generations behind us that are coming up, that their voices need a place to be heard.
If you believe that the City Council, who has their own channel, is turning their back on the obligation to provide the public with their channel, a vehicle for freedom of expression, and an opportunity to air their grievances, then you should click on the link below and send a letter to the Los Angeles government officials. Together, perhaps we can win back our public voice.